Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mothers have practically built themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. I am in a very busy place. It's going to be kind of hard to hear, but well, it's kind of important in my history. This tree behind me has quite the story, and it's been there for obviously quite a while. Today we are going to look at, on Echoes of the Chalkboard, the old Forest Elementary School in Salt Lake City. And well, I'm going to tell you the story behind this particular tree and the other trees down this line. So stick with us folks, and let's learn a little bit about Forest Elementary.
Well, here is my first grade class, a nice view of the building, and I am on the very bottom, on the very far right. Yep, that's Mad Dog, folks. There I am. I still remember almost all of these kids, and some of them, believe it or not, I am still friends with, if you can believe that, all of these years later. And of course, I remember my first grade teacher. So here is another beautiful picture from another year. And let's see, I am in the very back row, top left, with kind of a yellow sweater on over my shirt. Yep, that's me, folks, right there. These are kind of fun pictures to have. They're the only two that I have, and I only went to Forest until the second grade. So from 500 East to Highland Drive, and from 2100 South to 2700 South. These were the boundaries of Forestdale Township. 100 years ago, this area was part of the Salt Lake County school system. In 1906, a 12-room schoolhouse was built on the southeast corner of 2100 South and 900 East. The original cost of the building was $71,000. The first crops of teachers included Libby Edward, who went on to become a supervisor in the Granite School District, and for whom Libby Edward Elementary was named for. The school population increased dramatically in the next few years, making it necessary to use a structure located on the corner of Simpson Avenue and Lake Street as an annex, and we'll talk about that one another time. By 1928, the daily attendance of Forest was 1,124 students. Wow. Can you imagine all those kids crammed into a 39,000 square foot building of teaching space? That would just be wow. So by 1973, the enrollment had dropped to 543 students, and Forest was closed as part of a major downsizing program. The property was sold, and by 1975, well, a new Smith's Food King occupied the site. You see that little tree out front there? Well, in the opening sequence, that's one of those big, huge trees that I'm standing near. In fact, those trees are still there today on the west side of Smith's, the same ones that I used to play around. This particular building plan here I got from the school district archives, and it kind of shows the original building and where the rooms were and things like that. It's really kind of hard to see and read, but thought I would include it here. So this particular picture, this is a very interesting one because this one comes from 1920. The building in the foreground was actually built in 1918, but of real interest is hanging off of the light pole right in the middle towards the top is one of those little fire lamps. You would pull a firebox pole station on the power pole, and it would cause this lamp to light up. And that was how you, if there was a fire in the neighborhood, you'd pull that, and yeah. Anyway, off to this picture, which was taken in about 1926, and it shows the 1925 edition on the far left of the building. This is a nice, clear picture. I really like this particular picture. The 1918 building was 10,000 square feet, and the 1925 building was another 13,000 square feet, and it was a two-story. That's where I spent my first and second grade years. Here is a great picture taken from Elm Avenue, which is just to the south of of where the school was. Now this is where the big back wall of Smith's sits. But again, beautiful picture of the two-story building and the main building just to the west of it there. So in 1962, another addition was built. This particular addition added another 15,000 square feet to the building area. And this was the west entrance. This was an auditorium area just through these doors. This is kind of the main entrance. We'd get off the bus and go in through this entrance. This had some upper grade area in it as well. Here is a great picture taken from the corner, the northeast corner of 2100 South and 9th East. And you can see all of those buildings there in this particular picture. A couple of things I really like in this picture. First of all, there was a pizza place there on the corner. I never knew that. And the early model Mustang sitting there at the light. Well, of course, I like that. So this was taken from the southeast corner of the property, the playground area. You'll notice we had no grass. This was all pavement. This little backstop that you can see on the far right-hand side was one we used to use all the time. We'd throw the balls at it and throw it back at us, but never had any grass or dirt to play on. It was always on pavement. A few years ago, I was going through some school district archives, and I found this particular page. Now, the big main building that was the original building would be just to the bottom of what it says the 1962 building here, and it was torn down in about 1964, 1965. So by the time I got there in kindergarten, it was gone. But you can see the square footages, you can see where the buildings were arranged and what year they were built. I rode the bus to school because I was just outside the limit for walking. And this is where our bus would pull up, was out in front of this tree right here in the center. We'd all get off and we'd go in that entrance. This picture had to have been taken, though, in the mid-1960s, before the Dumford Donut place was right across the street. That was always a fun treat after school, was to go across the street and get a chocolate donut. So these following pictures are from the period of time about when I was in second grade. And this has a great picture of the 1962 building. You can see the drinking fountains, the type of drinking fountains we used to have. There was 3 of them alongside the south side of the building here, usually 2 little spigots on each one, and that's what we had. Just by the entranceway, you had these parallel bars. We called them the monkey bars. And there were these 3 bars. And so while we were waiting for the bus, the girls would always get on these things and spin and twirl, and you can see the rubber mat underneath it. Today, of course, all of these things are banned. You don't have any of this kind of stuff in schools anymore because of all of the injuries. This is another great picture of that entrance that, we called it the bus entrance, where we all used to go. I wonder where the teachers parked, because there was really no parking for this school. I guess they would park on the street, I don't know. This is a great picture looking southeast toward Mount Olympus, looking over the playground, and you can see there's a little bit of a hill there, and it would get icy in the wintertime, and that was kind of fun to skate down. We enjoyed that, but again, the paved playground. And then the courtyard. And we never got to go out to the courtyard, but you could see it through the windows. Here is the 1925 building, the first story, and you can see the I don't know what it's called, but it's a privacy wall for the going into the girls' restroom there on right there in the center of the picture. Like I say, we never got to go there. Now, this is taken from the street just east of the building, and this was the kindergarten area. This is where I went to kindergarten. So this is part of the 1962 building, and they had built these 2 kindergarten rooms. You can see where the dumpster is right up against the building. Wow, that'd never fly today. And on the far left was another set of monkey bars, which again, they wouldn't have. And you can see on the right just a little bit of parking there, not much for people. So here's kind of a last parting shot of the very back of the school and how I remember it, looking northeast back in the early 1970s, and a lot of great memories in those early days playing on this particular playground. Now this picture is really intriguing because this picture was taken from the Petty Ford parking lot, and I think the white station wagon in the front ground is actually the one that my dad had. He was a salesman at Petty Ford for years, and then he would still buy his cars from Petty. By the early 1970s, my dad had transitioned into being a sales rep for a local carpet company, and he had this white station wagon. I think it was over there for service at the time that picture was taken. So here's my final shot, and this is the 1925 two-story building that I spent so much time in. And when they tore the building down, I actually got the letters that said Forest Elementary and 1925. And I actually had that in a storage unit that, well, unfortunately I lost. So that's been lost to history. Hey, thanks for joining us, folks.